Started. It began last Friday with Israel launching missile strikes on Iran. We're now on day 7, and the conflict is only escalating. This morning, Iran hit back, targeting a hospital in southern Israel. That came just hours after Israel struck 2 nuclear facilities inside Iran. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has approved strikes on Iran, but he is still holding back. Will he deploy the bunker buster bombs? Also on the show, Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir was at the White House yesterday. What did he discuss with the US President? Plus, Canada's new intel report admits it. Khalistani extremists are operating within its borders. A leaked phone call could topple Thailand's government, and Air India is cancelling flights at an alarming rate. What's going on? And finally, is ChatGPT making you dumb? A new report says yes. We will tell you why. All that and more, but first, the headlines. European and Iranian officials to hold nuclear talks tomorrow in Geneva. In attendance will be the foreign ministers of Iran, Britain, France, and Germany, as well as the European Union's top diplomat. The meeting comes amid calls for de-escalation in the Israel-Iran conflict. But US President Donald Trump says he is mulling whether to join the strikes against Tehran. Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit China later this year. He will hold talks with his Chinese counterpart in the beginning of September and attend a regional summit. Putin and Xi have deepened their ties since the Ukraine war began in 2022. In May, President Xi was Russia's guest of honor at a military parade held in Moscow. New Zealand's government halts aid to close partner the Cook Islands. This is after a row over agreements that the Pacific island nation signed with China in February. Wellington says payments will not be made until trust is restored. New Zealand is the former colonial ruler of the self-governing Cook Islands. The Bank of England keeps its key interest rate unchanged as UK inflation remains high and risks climbing further due to the US tariffs. But the Swiss National Bank has cut its interest rates to 0%. The Swiss franc is a safe haven investment. It has climbed against the dollar since Trump launched his tariff blitz in April. And US Vice President J.D. Vance joins Blue Sky, the rival of Elon Musk's owned X. Vance asks his more than 4 million followers to join him on the alternative social media platform. Musk has transformed X into a platform for conservatives, but Donald Trump remains an infrequent user. He prefers his own Truth Social platform for communication. It is day 7 of the Israel-Iran conflict. 7 days since the first missiles flew. What began as missile strikes has turned into direct hits. There are strikes on cities, strikes on hospitals and military bases, and even on nuclear facilities. This morning, Tehran launched a wave of strikes on Israel. It was the largest missile barrage in 48 hours. The missiles penetrated Israel air defenses, hitting a lot of civilian areas. especially in south and central Israel. The most significant impact was on a hospital, the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, which is a city in the south of Israel. It took a direct hit from an Iranian missile. Soroka Medical Center was treating wounded Israeli soldiers, especially those wounded in Gaza. No deaths have been reported, but several people were injured.
This morning, an Iranian ballistic missile directly hit the Soroka hospital in Beersheba. This hospital serves over 1 million Israelis, including Bedouins, Jews, Christians, and Arabs alike. Iran targeting civilian centers with ballistic missiles is no surprise for us.
For Israel, this is a red line. The government calls it a criminal strike, saying Iran deliberately targeted a medical facility. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed revenge. He says Iran will pay a heavy price.
Sometimes to go to war in order to hit hard at the head of the snake, the head of the empire of evil, their heads, those who decided to launch, those who decided to run to a nuclear program to annihilate this place, those who decided to spread havoc and terror all over the world. No way, guys. We're here forever and we shall overcome.
But Tehran tells a different story. Iran claims it was aiming for a military site located next to the hospital. It wasn't attacking the hospital, so Soroka was collateral damage. And that's not all. Other locations in Tel Aviv suffered heavy damage too, including Holon, where a missile landed between buildings. The Israeli Stock Exchange building in Tel Aviv also faced some damage, and over 130 people are injured. Some of them are in critical condition. So this was a significant missile strike by Iran. It's inflicted some serious damage on Israel. And it comes right after Israel's strikes. The overnight attacks included 40 fighter jets. Israel targeted 2 nuclear sites in Iran, the Natanz nuclear facility and the nuclear reactor in Iraq. Now, the Iraq heavy water facility is located nearly 200 kilometers from Tehran. Work on it began in the 2000s, but it was later abandoned after the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Iran wanted to commission the reactor by 2026. The IDF says the reactor is designed to produce high-yield plutonium, and this is used to make nuclear weapons, which is why they struck it. Tehran confirmed the strike, but insisted there was no radiation risk.
There is no contamination in the region, as since a long time ago, necessary safety measures have been taken. The site had been evacuated and no human casualties have been reported, fortunately. Also, no residential have been hit and civilian areas remain unharmed.
Iran has launched a complaint with the IAEA over these attacks. That's the UN nuclear watchdog. Tehran says Israel is violating international laws. Globally, there are fears of a radioactive leak, but experts claim that this is unlikely. Most of the attacks have been on uranium enrichment facilities, so there isn't much of a risk. But it is clear the conflict is heating up. Israel launched its attack last Friday. Since then, it has killed 585 people in Iran. More than 1,300 Iranians are wounded. Iran has since fired 400 missiles at Israel, and the attacks have killed 24 people, and around 600 people are injured. But as the attacks escalate, so does the speculation about American involvement. All eyes are now on Donald Trump. Trump had once campaigned on keeping America out of foreign wars, but now he is under intense pressure. Behind closed doors, he's reportedly weighing a strike on Iran, a strike on Iran's Fordo nuclear facility, one that's buried deep beneath a mountain. And reports suggest that Trump has approved the strikes. But there's a catch. Trump is not pulling the trigger yet, in case Iran agrees to abandon its nuclear program.
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due, because things change. I mean, especially with war. Things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other.
There is also a lot of talk about regime change in Iran. Israel had earlier approved a plan to kill Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the country's supreme leader. But reports suggest that Trump vetoed the plan. He himself also issued a threat to Khamenei. So right now, there is a lot of speculation. Israel's defense minister now says Khamenei can no longer be allowed to exist. Katz says eliminating Khamenei is one of the country's war goals.
We set the goals of the war to be removing nuclear and destruction and missile threats, and in them the IDF was instructed and knows that in order to achieve them within the overall targets, this man should not continue to exist.
Yesterday, the Russian president was asked about this, about a regime change in Iran. Moscow and Tehran are close partners, so this is what the Russian president had to say.
What would be your reaction if Israel tries to kill Iranian supreme leader with, or without U.S. help?
With your permission, I hope this will be the most correct answer to your question. I do not wish even to discuss such a possibility.
Meanwhile, Iran is sending its own warning to Washington. Don't even think about getting involved. And in Tehran's view, the U.S. is already too close for comfort. It is stationed in bases across West Asia. Around 40,000 to 50,000 troops are in the region. The U.S. Embassy in Doha is now on high alert. Access to Qatar's Al Udeid air base has been restricted. So the message is very clear. Things could get messy very fast. What started as targeted strikes now looks like a war without rules. Each side is pushing a little further, testing red lines. And as the missiles keep flying, the question is, will the U.S. join the fight? The answers may be days or just a missile away. Both Iran and Israel are using a lot of firepower, from missiles to rockets to fighter jets. Tonight, we will take a closer look at these weapons. Starting with Iran's latest salvo, on Wednesday, Tehran claimed to have fired a hypersonic missile called the Fatah-1. This missile was first unveiled in 2023. It was named by the Supreme Leader himself. The Fatah-1 is around 12 meters long. It can travel up to 1,400 kilometers and can carry up to 200 kilograms of explosives. But why is it called hypersonic? Because these missiles can travel 5 times faster than sound, which is around 6,100 kilometers per hour. Iran says it used these missiles against Israel, but experts are not convinced. You see, every ballistic missile reaches hypersonic speed. That doesn't make it a hypersonic missile. For that, the missile must also be nimble. It must be able to evade enemy air defenses. And experts are unsure if Iran's Fatah-1 can do that. Nonetheless, it's a lethal weapon. Put together, Iran is said to have 3,000 ballistic missiles. Not all of them can reach Israel. The distance is more than 1,000 kilometers. So only the longer-range missiles can strike Israel. And which are they? First, you have the Imad missile. It has a range of up to 1,700 kilometers, and it can carry a 750-kilogram warhead. Then there is the Khyber Shekan missile. This was unveiled in 2022. It has a range of up to 1,700 kilometers and can carry a 500-kilogram warhead. Another missile is the Haj Qasem. It's named after the slain Quds force chief Qasem Soleimani. It can fly up to 1,400 kilometers, and it has a payload of 500 kilograms. Finally, you have the longest range missiles. These can travel up to 2,000 kilometers. Like the Ghadar and the Sejil and the Khorram Shahar, it's not clear which of these missiles Iran has fired so far. And don't forget the drones. Iran has used hundreds of kamikaze drones at Israel. These are basically suicide drones. They crash into the targets and explode. Reports say Iran has fired at least 2 types of drones, the Shahed 136 and the Arash 2. These can fly more than 1,000 kilometers, but unlike rockets or jets, they do not have boosters. They have propellers. Some of these drones take up to 9 hours to reach Israel. Hence, they are easy to shoot down, and Iran knows this. They are using the drones to overwhelm the Israeli air defenses, to create a window for the missiles to hit, which brings us to the other side. What sort of weapons is Israel using? Last Friday, they deployed around 200 fighter jets. That's around 60% of their total fleet. This included a combination of American jets, the F-35, the F-16, and the F-15. Israel has air superiority over Iranian skies, which means they can carry out manned operations. On Wednesday, 50 fighter jets were used to bomb targets in Tehran. Some killer drones are also in the mix, like the Hermes 900 drone. One of these was shot down by Iran this week. Now, unlike Iranian drones, these are not kamikaze weapons. They are combat drones. The Hermes 900 can fly at a height of 30,000 feet. It can stay in the air for up to 30 hours. And capabilities? It can do surveillance. It can carry out reconnaissance. It can also carry out combat missions, because this drone can carry missiles. Now we come to the defense of weapons. Israel has a multi-layer air defense system. Now, these use interceptors to destroy projectiles in the air. Basically, they fire missiles at other missiles. I'm sure you know about the Iron Dome, but this time the focus is on the upper layers of the system, the Arrow 2 and 3. These systems intercept ballistic missiles. The problem is, Israel could be running low on interceptors. The US is trying to replenish the reserves, but can they do it fast enough? One US official says Israel cannot keep this up much longer, maybe 10 to 12 days. That's it, which really sums up the story here. This war is a battle of numbers. Ground troops and naval assets have not played a role. It's about missiles and air defenses. Iran has the biggest missile stockpile in the region, but Israel has managed to destroy some of those weapons. Plus, they have targeted the launchers used to fire these missiles. On the other side, Israel is running low on air defenses. The difference is, Israel can turn to America. Iran has no one to turn to. We have mentioned many factors that could determine the result of this war. Depletion of weapons could be one of them. It is the crown jewel of Iran's nuclear program, its most important nuclear facility, one that could bring Iran closer to a nuclear weapon. We are talking about the Fordo facility in northwest Iran, one of Israel's main targets in this war. Israel wants to blow it apart, but they can't do it alone. They'll need the US to help them out. Will America help Israel in this mission? Donald Trump is said to be seriously considering the idea.
We have the best weapons in the world, by far. So we'll see what happens. I've been asked about it by everybody, but I haven't made a decision.
Israel wants Fordo to be destroyed. Fordo keeps Iran's nuclear program alive. The facility has close to 3,000 centrifuges. They can churn out weapons-grade uranium. So as long the Fordo facility is active, Iran will have the capabilities and the capacity to build a nuclear bomb. That's why the Israelis consider it a threat. But taking out Fordo is not an easy mission. The facility is buried deep. It was built under 300 feet of mountain and concrete. So you cannot send a drone or a missile and strike it. Israel has considered all options. They even thought about sending in commandos. The idea was shared with Trump. Israel proposed loading up helicopters and sending soldiers to Fordo facility. Now they would fight their way into the plant and blow it up. Israel shared this option with Trump, but he dismissed the idea. So there is only one feasible option now: deploying the bunker buster bombs. What are they? Now these are specialized weapons. They are built for one purpose. They are designed to hit targets hidden deep underground, just like the Fordo plant. Like we discussed before, this site is 300 feet below land. Conventional bombs can't reach that far. You need a weapon that can break through layers of rock and concrete. Experts say there is only one bomb that can do that, and there's only one plane that can carry this bomb. Only the US has both the bomb and the plane. The bomb is called the GBU-57. It's also known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator. It is 6 meters long. It weighs around 13,600 kilograms. Now, this weapon has never been used in battle before, but reports say it can do the job with pinpoint accuracy.
In the case of the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, it is the only weapon in anyone's arsenal globally that's able to successfully target and potentially even eliminate facilities like Fordo.
The bomb will be carried on this plane, a B-2 stealth bomber. It can carry 2 GBU-57s. So if the US has to do this, how would it go about it? The US can conduct multiple strikes if needed to take out Fordo. The US Air Force says that multiple bunker busters can be dropped in sequence, either by one aircraft or by several. Each strike would chip away at the target until the final strike that reaches deep enough to destroy it completely. But even with such a powerful weapon, there is no guarantee of success. All these scenarios are theoretical for now. The US has never conducted an operation like this, so chances are that the plan may not work.
It's not a guarantee that 1 or even 2 of these weapons would be able to successfully take Fordo offline, and certainly even to destroy it.
Trump knows this as well. He has been speaking to US defense officials. He has put up a condition. The US should only strike Iran if the bunker buster bomb can guarantee a hit on Fordo. Reports say that Trump has been briefed about the weapon's capabilities, but Trump is not fully convinced. He has held back on giving the green light. This is not an easy decision. It's not just about the mission itself or whether the weapon can do the job. A direct US strike on Iran would be a major escalation. Tehran has already issued a warning. It came from Iran's supreme leader yesterday.
The Americans, those who are familiar with the politics of this region, know that America's intervention in this matter is 100% to their detriment. What they will suffer in this regard is much greater than what Iran may suffer.
Where does that leave Trump? For now, Trump is leaning on the second option. He's threatening strikes. He wants to see if that pressure brings Iran back to the table. Trump leaving the door open for diplomacy. Yesterday, he claimed Iran wants to talk. He even suggested Iranian officials are open to visit the White House.
Iran was very close to signing what would have been a very good agreement for them. And maybe that could still happen, I guess. They do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House.
Iran is yet to confirm that. Trump is certainly open to dialogue, But until a deal happens, the fate of Fordo remains uncertain. Israel may not have the capabilities to strike Fordo, but it has still managed to strike deep inside Iran, thanks to the superior intelligence. Israel's spy agency, the Mossad, launched attacks from inside Iran. They smuggled in weapons, they took out missile defenses, and cleared the way for Israeli warplanes to strike targets across Iran. At the heart of it all was intelligence. The fallout of this intelligence operation is now unfolding. Iran has arrested dozens on suspicion of spying. Tehran is now warning citizens to report any suspicious activity. Here's a report.
It has all the ingredients of a James Bond film. These pictures were released by Israel's spy agency, the Mossad. Apparently, these silhouettes are of Mossad agents. In the middle of the night, they set off kamikaze drones from Iranian soil. Another set of pictures shows an attack on an Iranian air defense device. It is unprecedented. Israeli agents managed to smuggle weapons into Iran, and they took out Iranian defenses from within. Israel's airstrikes on Iran were more than just a show of force. They were strategic, they were planned, and they were deeply coordinated. According to Israeli officials, the agents set up a launch base inside Iran itself, a base used to deploy explosive drones. Those drones targeted missile launchers near Tehran. But that was just the beginning. Precision weapons were smuggled into the country. They took aim at Iran's surface-to-air missile systems. And once those defenses were down, Israel's Air Force moved in. Over 200 warplanes launched more than 100 strikes last Friday. Israeli planes hit targets across the Iranian airspace. And according to Israel, every single aircraft returned home without a single loss. It was a display of air superiority, hundreds of miles deep into enemy territory. But the foundation of this mission was laid by intelligence. Mossad operatives inside Iran helped in pinpointing high-value targets, from commanders to nuclear scientists and key military installations. Israel's message was unmistakable. Can penetrate Iran's defenses, can strike with precision, and it can do so without any warning. Officials in Iran have now launched a sweeping crackdown. The regime has arrested dozens on suspicion of spying. 28 people have been rounded up in Tehran alone. One man, arrested 2 years ago, was hanged on Monday. It was a message to any would-be informer. But the crackdown hasn't stopped there. Iran is arresting people for posting articles online. In Isfahan alone, 60 people were detained. This is where Israel claims to have struck a nuclear target. Iran's intelligence ministry is now asking the public to report anything suspicious. It has issued warnings about strangers in masks, drivers in pickup trucks, and people with large bags or cameras near military sites. This is the level of fear inside Iran. Mossad's operation inside Iran did more than take out military targets. It has exposed the chinks in Iran's defenses.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
My first question to you, Zak Tanveer, how do you read the situation currently? There are a lot of developments happening. Simultaneously, we'll try and go to it one by one. But first is this entire task that the Israelis have taken up, along with the Americans backing it, of saying Iran cannot go nuclear. How is that? Can that be achieved?
Yeah, when it comes to the topic of the denuclearization of Iran, I think, yes, the Israel has been successful in demolishing and destroying a lot of Iranian nuclear sites. But one of them, which is one of the biggest one, is the Fordo nuclear site, and it cannot be achieved without the intervention of United States, because right now Israel does not have the capacity to destroy or demolish the Fordo nuclear site. So for that, obviously, Israel will need the United States GBU 57 for that. When it comes to the regime change, a lot of people are indeed talking about the regime change. They say that the regime change may be possible, but as per my opinion, and when I see a lot of experts talking about it, I don't think that regime change is like the knife through butter, or regime change is that easy, especially in Iran, because the affiliation with Iran across the world is not just political affiliation. A lot of people have religious affiliation. You have people in India, you have people in Pakistan, you have people in Afghanistan who is loyal to Iran and the supreme leader Ali Khamenei. They're all loyal to Ali Khamenei, and it's not that easy to just replace Khamenei and put someone else. It's not like Libya, Gaddafi. It's not like Saddam Hussein. It's not like any other country. It's a very tough job, especially when Iran has militias all over Lebanon. It has militias in Yemen. It has militias in Syria. So regime change is not a knife through butter job for the United States, but people are talking about it. In fact, I've spoken to some of the Israeli experts, and I've asked them, like, can Reza Pahlavi be the right candidate, the potential candidate who can replace Ali Khamenei? Even the Israelis are speculative about it. They say that no, we don't think so. Reza Pahlavi can be the right candidate to replace Ali Khamenei. They don't have the answer. They don't have the answer, because Ali Khamenei not only controls the politics, he controls from missile industry to the baby products, everything reports to Ali Khamenei, and he controls the Guardian Council. He controls everything in Iran. So from my perspective, what I believe is not easy to change the regime.
So, but if Fordo is attacked, Zach, what happens then? If Fordo is, you're saying, let's say the Americans provide the bunker busters, provide the stealth bombers to the Israelis. So it's again in the face of the Israeli military that is operating these. It's not America directly.
Americans see the White House as sacred, as a place for respect, diplomacy and grace. But it looks like they made an exception yesterday, because President Trump hosted Pakistan's army chief at the White House. We're talking about Field Marshal Asim Munir. He joined Trump for lunch yesterday. The event was not open to the media. Even Pakistani journalists called it unanticipated. We heard several theories about why this was happening, from Iran to terrorism to business. But it turns out it could be a lot simpler. The White House said Asim Munir called for Trump to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, and that's why he got the invite. Basically, it was a quid pro quo. Munir sought the Peace Prize for Trump, and Trump rewarded him with a White House lunch. It is usually reserved for heads of state and government. It is very rare for a military leader to get it. Trump was later asked about the meeting. He called it a great honor.
I want to thank him for not going into the war, just, ending the war. I'm so happy. There was a deal that two smart people, plus, they have people on their staff too, but two very smart people decided not to keep going with that war. That could have been a nuclear war. Those are two nuclear powers. Big ones, big nuclear powers, and they decided that. So I was honored to meet him today.
And what's Pakistan saying? Obviously, they are going to town with it. Munir thanked President Trump for mediating a ceasefire with India. He also praised Trump's so-called statesmanship. Islamabad also said that the US president lauded Pakistan's fight against terrorism. They also discussed trade, Iran, and cryptocurrency. Apparently, the meeting was slated to last 1 hour, but it dragged on for 2. Just one problem, though. Most of these claims are based on lies. Trump did not mediate a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. It was Islamabad that sued for peace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi made that clear to Trump on Wednesday. Yet he continues to peddle this theory. Listen to what he said hours after his call with Prime Minister Modi.
Between Pakistan, I love Pakistan. I think Modi is a fantastic man. I spoke to him last night. We're going to make a trade deal with Modi of India. But I stopped the war between Pakistan and India. This man was extremely influential in stopping it from the Pakistan side, Modi from the India side, and others.
Coming back to the White House lunch, it's not clear what the exact objective is. Several theories are floating around. One suggests that Trump needs Pakistan's help against Iran, but this seems unlikely at the moment. Pakistan has strongly condemned Israel's attacks. It has also expressed full solidarity with Iran. After such statements, would Pakistan help America attack Iran? Knowing Islamabad, yes. But would they telegraph that message to the whole world, or would they keep it covert? The second option is more likely. Another theory talks about China. Pakistan has a very close tie with China. Now, it is a key part of Xi Jinping's Belt and Road Initiative. In fact, China has invested billions in Pakistan. Could Donald Trump be trying to weaken that nexus, to drive a wedge between Pakistan and China? It's certainly possible. Some reports say that America is eyeing bases in Pakistan. In return, they could offer advanced weapons. The third theory is business. The Trump family has crypto investments in Pakistan. Now, the Army's readout confirms that Munir discussed crypto with Trump. These are some of the theories floating around. Of course, with Trump, there is always a fourth possibility. It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's simply a PR stunt. Asim Munir is trying to consolidate his power back home, and this lunch will help him. Trump's predecessor, Joe Biden, never hosted the Pakistani Prime Minister, but Munir got an audience within 150 days. He will sell this as a win. And what does Trump get? An ego boost. Close aides say that he is desperate for a Nobel Peace Prize. Perhaps that's why he keeps claiming credit for the India-Pakistan ceasefire. But in the process, he is damaging his ties with India. Yes, New Delhi prioritizes its relations with Washington, but every country has a threshold of patience, and Trump may have crossed it. And staying with India's diplomatic challenges, let's talk about Canada. Their intelligence agency published an annual report yesterday, and there's good news and bad news. We'll focus on the good news first. The report admits the presence of Khalistani extremists in Canada. Let me quote what it says. A small group of individuals are considered Khalistani extremists because they continue to use Canada as a base for the promotion, fundraising, or planning of violence, primarily in India. Now, we can debate whether the threat is small or not, but the admission is significant. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was reluctant to admit this. Khalistanis used to threaten Indian diplomats. They would call for violence, yet Trudeau did not act against them. He called it freedom of speech. We checked last year's intelligence report. That doesn't even mention the word Khalistan. This year's report mentions it 9 times. It admits the long-standing threat of this movement. Again, let me quote. Since the mid-1980s, the political extremism threat in Canada has manifested primarily through Canada-based Khalistani extremists seeking to use and support violent means to create an independent nation-state called Khalistan. Now, just to be clear, this isn't a condemnation of the movement. Canada is only opposing violent Khalistani advocacy. They say non-violent advocacy is fine. Ideally, even that shouldn't be okay. No country should platform separatists, violent or non-violent. Nonetheless, it's a good start. At least there is agreement on the threat. Which brings us to the bad part. The report names India as a foreign interference threat. It has been clubbed with Iran, China, Russia, and Pakistan. Pakistan's edition is new. They did not feature in last year's report. Let me quote what it says this time. Pakistan conducts foreign interference against Canada to promote political insecurity and economic stability in Pakistan and to counter India's growing global influence. Again, that's a big admission. Canada says Pakistan is targeting India in Canada. It's not clear how at this point. Is it by promoting Khalistani terrorists? Is it by funding anti-India organizations? Unfortunately, the report does not elaborate. But coming back to India, the report says Canada must be vigilant about alleged Indian meddling. It also links India to the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. He was a designated Khalistani terrorist. Canada says India ordered his murder. Of course, New Delhi has rejected these claims. They have also offered to cooperate if evidence is given. The question is, how should India see this report? As progress or setback? This week, Prime Minister Modi met with his Canadian counterpart, the newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney. Both leaders decided to exchange high commissioners, and they also promised to restart trade talks. Before that, Canada and India also agreed on a security deal. It promotes police cooperation and intelligence sharing. The idea is to crack down on extremists. So progress has been made in this relationship. In that context, this report sends 3 messages to India. Number 1, Canada hears some of India's concerns, which is why Khalistan has been named in this report. Number 2, Canada may condemn Khalistani violence, but they will not abandon the cause, nor will they call off the Nijjar probe. And number 3, Canada could be looking at a different approach to Khalistan. Trudeau had a sensationalist approach. Mark Carney seems to be going for a pragmatic approach. Whether India agrees remains to be seen. Now let's shift our focus to Southeast Asia, where tensions are escalating between 2 neighbors, Thailand and Cambodia. The 2 countries have long-standing border dispute. A few weeks ago, armed forces of both countries exchanged fire in a contested area along the border, and 1 Cambodian soldier was killed. Since then, the 2 nations have engaged in tit-for-tat actions, from shortened visa stays for visitors to banned fruit and vegetable imports. And now a leaked call has made the situation worse. A call between the Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra and Cambodia's former Prime Minister Hun Sen, and the call has shaken Thailand, stoked public anger, and pushed the government to the brink of collapse. Here's a report.
Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra is just 10 months into the job, and now she faces calls to quit. All thanks to a leaked phone call, a call between Shinawatra and Cambodia's Hun Sen. Friendship between the political dynasties, the Shinawatras and the Hun family, goes back decades. Paetongtarn's father is the deposed former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Meanwhile, Hun Sen was Cambodia's strongman prime minister for 3 decades. Both consider each other godbrothers. With Thailand and Cambodia stuck in a bitter border dispute, recently, Paetongtarn and Hun Sen had a phone call. Paetongtarn called him uncle, promised to take care of his needs, and said that the Thai military commander just wanted to look cool. Then, the call was leaked. Hun Sen says that he had shared the audio clip with 80 politicians, and one of them leaked it. Later, the leader himself shared the entire recording on his Facebook page. And of course, this has provoked public anger. Thai citizens accuse Shinawatra of selling out the kingdom's interests. Paetongtarn has apologized.
I told Hun Sen, when people quarrel, they must naturally be on opposite sides.
they are going to talk like this. We were trying to play down the situation to show that there was nothing to this issue so we could figure out what to do next. But, all things considered, a conversation like this should never have been leaked in the first place.
But this is not enough. So the Thai Prime Minister is battling for political survival. The second largest party in Paetongtarn's ruling coalition has quit the alliance. This is a major blow to the Thai government, which is hanging by a thread. The drama comes against a backdrop of soaring tensions between Thailand and Cambodia. Border disputes between the two neighbors are a long-standing issue, and you can blame colonization for it. The two countries share more than 800 kilometers of land border. In 1907, when Cambodia was still colonized by France, a map was used to separate the country from Thailand. Since then, Cambodia has been using the map as a reference to claim territory. Meanwhile, Thailand argues that the map is inaccurate. This has caused several flare-ups in the past, which have killed and displaced thousands of people. The recent dispute was triggered in May. Armed forces of Thailand and Cambodia briefly fired at each other in a contested area along their border, and one Cambodian soldier was killed. Since then, both countries have agreed to de-escalate the situation, but both have engaged in tit-for-tat actions. They have shortened visa stays for visitors for one another's citizens. Thailand has imposed border restrictions with Cambodia. Phnom Penh has banned Thai films from TV and cinemas, closed a border checkpoint, cut internet bandwidth from Thailand, and now banned imports of fruit and vegetables from there. This week, tens of thousands of Cambodians have also taken to the streets to support the government's stance. So while Cambodia is putting up a united front, the Thai government stands divided. After the leaked call, the Prime Minister has lost the public's confidence, and her government appears to be on the brink of collapse. So if tensions continue, clearly, one of the two bickering neighbors has more to lose.
Air India is in deep crisis. What began as a routine flight from Ahmedabad to London on the 12th of June ended in a national tragedy. 241 people were killed, but what followed was not just grief, but a full-blown aviation emergency. Flights are being grounded, safety checks are tightening, and the black box is being flown to the US for analysis. In the meantime, Air India is slashing 15% of its wide-body fleet for international routes, triggering fresh travel disruptions. As the turbulence grows, so do the questions. What really went wrong? And where does India's national carrier go from here? Our next report has the full story.
Just a few weeks ago, Air India was cruising on optimism. Under the Tata Group's stewardship, the airline was beginning to dust off its past. New planes were joining the fleet. Cabin upgrades were underway. Even the branding had taken a slick, modern turn. Air India was finally flying into a new chapter, or so it seemed. Then came June 12th. A London-bound Boeing 787 Dreamliner, Air India Flight 171, crashed into a residential area near the airport in Ahmedabad. The images were devastating. The wreckage smoldering in the heart of a neighborhood. 242 people were on board, out of which 241 were killed. And with that, the entire Indian aviation sector was thrust into crisis mode. What started as a single tragedy has now grown into a full-blown aviation emergency. In the days that followed, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation launched an intensive probe into Air India's fleet. The priority was its 33 Boeing 787 Dreamliners, the same aircraft that went down. Only 26 passed the stringent safety inspections. 7 were grounded. That alone was enough to squeeze Air India's international operations. But public pressure, regulatory heat, and mounting technical snags added fuel to the fire. The result is a new decision from Air India. It plans to cut 15% of its wide-body jets for international operations, at least until mid-July. For passengers, this translated into chaos. Canceled flights, last-minute diversions, long delays, and uncertain schedules. Between June 13th and June 19th alone, 83 Air India flights, both domestic and international, were canceled due to technical issues. This wasn't just turbulence, it was a nosedive into uncertainty. Some had technical failures, some had engine issues, and some were grounded after snags during pre-flight checks. So what exactly went wrong in Ahmedabad? We still don't know. The black box has been recovered from the accident site. It's those bright orange flight data and cockpit voice recorders. It was so badly damaged in the blaze that India had to send it to the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board in Washington for forensic analysis. Until investigators crack the mystery, Air India remains in the hot seat. Multiple countries, India, the US, the UK, are now involved in the probe. Questions are flying. Was it a mechanical failure? A maintenance oversight? A deeper systemic issue? For now, we wait. But in the meantime, the Tatas are staring at a brand in distress. To its credit, Air India is acting quickly. Full refunds or free rescheduling for affected passengers. Transparent communication, at least so far, on flight disruptions. S&D a fresh flight schedule from June 20th to improve predictability. CEO Campbell Wilson has promised full cooperation with investigators and a redoubled focus on safety. Tata Group's leadership has also rallied around the airline. But make no mistake, this is a make-or-break moment for Air India. Experts draw parallels with Malaysia Airlines, which faced 2 catastrophic losses in 2014. It took a decade for them to recover. Air India's climb back to credibility could take just as long, unless it handles the next few months of turbulence with extraordinary care.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
My first question to you, Zak Tanveer, how do you read the situation currently? There are a lot of developments happening. Simultaneously, we'll try and go to it one by one. But first is this entire task that the Israelis have taken up, along with the Americans backing it, of saying Iran cannot go nuclear. How is that? Can that be achieved?
Yeah, when it comes to the topic of the denuclearization of Iran, I think, yes, Israel has been successful in demolishing and destroying a lot of Iranian nuclear sites. But one of them, which is one of the biggest one, is the Fordo nuclear site, and it cannot be achieved without the intervention of United States, because right now Israel does not have the capacity to destroy or demolish the Fordo nuclear site. So for that, obviously, Israel will need the United States GBU-57 for that. When it comes to the regime change, a lot of people are indeed talking about the regime change. They say that the regime change may be possible, but as per my opinion, and when I see a lot of experts talking about it, I don't think that regime change is like the knife through butter, or regime change is that easy, especially in Iran, because the affiliation with Iran across the world is not just political affiliation. A lot of people have religious affiliation. You have people in India, you have people in Pakistan, you have people in Afghanistan who is loyal to Iran and the supreme leader Ali Khamenei. They're all loyal to Ali Khamenei, and it's not that easy to just replace Khamenei and put someone else. It's not like Libya, Gaddafi. It's not like Saddam Hussein. It's not like any other country. It's a very tough job, especially when Iran has militias all over Lebanon. It has militias in Yemen. It has militias in Syria. So regime change is not a knife through butter job for the United States, but people are talking about it. In fact, I've spoken to some of the Israeli experts, and I've asked them, like, can Raza Pahlavi be the right candidate, the potential candidate who can replace Ali Khamenei. Even the Israelis are speculative about it. They say that no, we don't think so. Reza Pahlavi can be the right candidate to replace Ali Khamenei. They don't have the answer. They don't have the answer because Ali Khamenei not only controls the politics, he controls from missile industry to the baby products, everything reports to Ali Khamenei, and he controls the Guardian Council. He controls everything in Iran. So from my perspective, what I believe is not easy to change the regime.
So, but if Fordo is attacked, Zak, what happens then? If Fordo is, you're saying, let's say the Americans provide the bunker busters, provide the stealth bombers to the Israelis. So it's again in the face of the Israeli military that is operating these. It's not America directly. Let's say Fordo is attacked. What happens then? Because there is enriched uranium there. The Russians and the Chinese have finally gotten active. There has been a long conversation between President Putin and President Xi Jinping. Both Xinhua and Russia today have reported today that they are pushing for a ceasefire. President Putin is saying, I know the Iranians well, I am happy to come as a mediator. Trump has laughed that off. What do you see happening? If Fordo is hit, will the Ayatollah succumb? Will they back off?
See, if Fordo is hit, in case, we don't think so it's that easy because Trump's policy is MAGA, Make America Great Again. So he's basically reiterating this fact that we make.
And now it's time for Vantage shots, images that tell the story. A SpaceX rocket, which was being tested in Texas, explodes in a dramatic fireball. Protests break out in Buenos Aires over former Argentine president's house arrest sentence. And kites from around the globe soar over Denmark. And finally, taking you back in history, on this day in 1981, India launched the Apple satellite. It was the country's first communication satellite. Ironically, the satellite had to be carried on a bullock cart. This was to create a non-magnetic environment that wouldn't mess with the satellite's antenna. Leaving you on that note, thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the Late Night Edition with me, Ayushman Singh Jamwala. Top story: tensions in West Asia are rapidly escalating, where Israel has launched a fresh round of attacks on Iran and struck a key Iranian nuclear site on Thursday. And in response, Iranian missiles hit an Israeli hospital in Tel Aviv. Israeli military has also been instructed to intensify strikes on strategic targets in Tehran. Now, a week of Israeli airstrikes as well as military action across Iran has wiped out the top rungs of the Iranian military command, damaged its nuclear capabilities and killed hundreds of people inside Iran, primarily Tehran as well as western Iran. Meanwhile, Iranian retaliatory strikes have killed at least 24 civilians.